Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. Bitcoin currently correcting. Let's see if 58,000 holds. In today's show, we'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis. We'll also be discussing breaking news. $1.7 trillion Wells Fargo is preparing its wealth advisors to actively pitch the Bitcoin ETFs to their clients starting in September, right around the corner. We'll also be discussing the Bitcoin hash price slump, echoes March 2020, Bitcoin price launch zone. We'll also be discussing Mt. Gox and U.S. government could introduce $15 billion worth of Bitcoin selling pressure, as well as Dell results show no signs of Bitcoin despite the CEO's bullish comments. We're referring to Michael Dell. Also, we'll be discussing analyst projects Bitcoin smashing $250,000 per coin as the most powerful Bitcoin bull run phase officially begins. I'll be sharing the timeline. Also, breaking news, according to CNBC, how Donald Trump was orange pilled by 3 Bitcoiners in Puerto Rico and the promise of $100 million and 5 million votes. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. But let's dive right in. If you're new to the channel, important to smash the likes, then subscribe and hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications. That way you get notified each and every day when we go live. Today is pod episode 1745. That's right, 1745. I'm your host, JV. It's August 30th, 2024. We only got one more day left of the month before we get the monthly close. Not looking so good right now as far as price action. The line in the sand is still that major psychological resistance of 60,000, but we're currently at 58,300, currently correcting on the day. Let's kick it off with our market watch, as we do each and every day. Should be able to see Coin 360 on your screen. Bitcoin correcting down 4% on the day. Ether down almost 5%. Solana down 9%, XRP down 4%, everything pretty wrecked as far as the alts are concerned. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, current crypto market cap still dropping, barely sitting above 2 trillion, to be exact, 2.04 trillion. That's total crypto market cap. Bitcoin market cap all the way down to 1.15 trillion, 70 billion worth of volume in the previous 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance is at 56.3%. Ether dominance all the way down to 14.5%. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours, we got USDC. It's a sad sign when there's no gainers and the stable coins are leading the pack and they're all in the negative to begin with. So there's virtually nothing, zero, zilch, nada in the green on the day. And checking out the crypto bubbles, get more of that visual perspective. Yeah, again, virtually everything correcting and in the red. I don't see nothing in the green. And zooming out on the monthly, similar story, maybe -5 gainers, but virtually everything blood red. Some of these alts down 30, 40%. The handful actually in the green are Tron up 21%, HNT up 36%, and HTX up 23%. Besides that, there's really not much. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, we're currently rated at 34 in fear. Yesterday, 29. Last week, A34, and last month, a 61 in greed. And checking out the time chain calendar so we can see what block we're currently on and how many blocks we have until the next halving. As of today, we're at 859,104 blocks to the halving. We still got 190,000 blocks to go. And I would imagine you can probably get for maybe $500 to $600 become a Satoshi millionaire at today's exchange rate. We got a lot to share, so let's dive into today's Bitcoin technical analysis. I'm going to share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So here we go. Headline here reads, Bitcoin analysis warns Bitcoin price risk of 2023 return when the stock shed 10%. That's right. Here you're looking at the 1-hour chart. Bitcoin stayed range bound at the August 30th Wall Street Open as traders began to compare the Bitcoin price action to the 2023 breakdown. Trading views showed Bitcoin acting at around 59.5, and right now we're at 58, so we're still dropping. The latest United States macroeconomic data in the form of the PCE index did little to shift the sideways landscape. This came in slightly below expectations, further bolstering the case for already anticipated interest rate cuts to begin in September, as the KBC letter shares here. here. The latest estimates from the CME Group FedWatch tool showed the market odds on the size of the first rate cut broadly unchanged after the PCE print. Now, pinned right below 60,000, Bitcoin offered little inspiration to traders hoping for even a modest reclaim of lost support. And in his latest video, another analyst, Crypto Ed, joined those highlighting 62,000 as the key resistance support flip required by the bulls. Quoting him here, 62 is my key level. If we break above and reclaim 62, I will be a lot more bullish. And he also offered a Bitcoin price fractal from August of 2023 as one idea of where the market may be headed in the coming weeks. And at this time, Bitcoin long-term lows at 25,000 before sharply reversing higher later in Q4. Could you imagine that? Muhammad has been calling it the entire time. A retrace to 25 and then a breakout to new all-time highs. What are your thoughts? Now, trader Josh Rager held similar thoughts, this time due to how the U.S. stock markets behave during the prior Bitcoin breakout of 2020, quoting Josh here. Stocks are almost at all-time highs. That is exactly what happened last Bitcoin halving year going into September of 2020. The stocks hit new all-time highs late August 2020 and then nuked over 10% in September, negative 10%. Let's hope for different results in September, or Bitcoin and crypto will feel the pain. Meanwhile, the Ikimoku highlights the Bitcoin price struggle. That's right. Another analyst, Titan of Crypto, who in his own update suggested the Ikimoku cloud indicator may be the key to the short-term strength, quoting him here. If Bitcoin reclaims 59.6 and breaks through the cloud twist, the clouds would flip from resistance to support. This might trigger an upward move, so keep your eyes on that level, family, $59,600. And with less than 48 hours to go until the monthly close, Bitcoin was due to finish the August down 8%, having nonetheless recovered by nearly 40% since its 45.5 lows on August 5th. So there you go. And in other breaking news, 1.7 trillion Wells Fargo is preparing its wealth advisors to actively pitch Bitcoin ETFs to clients starting in September. In fact, they had their call earlier, which I saw a lot of feedback on. So this is more bullishness, more exposure to the ETFs. Just note, make sure to keep your Bitcoin in a self-custody. There's a massive difference between self-custodied Bitcoin and Bitcoin ETF exposure, through, for example, IBIT, BlackRock's product, etc. For example, when you invest into IBIT or any of those major ETFs of Bitcoin, which went live in January of this year, you got to note that you're using the dollar equivalent to purchase it. So it's more like a stock. And then when you cash out, you don't actually ever receive Bitcoin. They give you the USD equivalent. Coinbase is the custodian, for example, for BlackRock and most of the asset managers, minus Fidelity, who's doing the self-custody. But at the end of the day, nacho keys, nacho coins. That's kind of the bigger picture. So Bitcoin doesn't need the ETFs. ETFs, Wall Street, bankers, they need the biddy. Just got to get it straight. So here's live chart action for you guys so you can see where we're at, where we're most likely heading next. We do have some targets here on the 1 hour chart. We do have that bullish target at 64.5. And then we do have some bottoms, 3 recent bottoms with the most recent new one, 57,900, which is the current low. We'll zoom out. We'll check out the 4 hour and get some different looks on different time frames here for you guys. Again, live and in the flesh, brought to you by TradingView via Coinbase. We do have some targets here on the 4 hour chart. The bullish target is sitting at 64.5, just as it is on the 1 hour chart. And as you can see, as I mentioned, we did bottom just in the high 57s, 57.9-ish. And we'll zoom out for the 1 day. Here's the 1 day chart, family. You can see, unfortunately, we had 2 big red consecutive candles a couple of days ago, and we've kind of been trading sideways, and again, we're falling more. A lot of analysts are anticipating retest of that 57 level, which we're on the cusp of retesting right now. We can potentially hit 55, and the most recent local bottom is 49, which we touched roughly 2 weeks ago, and expect more extreme volatility as well. That's a given. But zooming out, on the weekly, we still have that bullish cup and handle target sitting at 125,000. I think we can potentially hit that in Q4 of this year if history is to rhyme with the previous cycles. And we'll zoom out on the 1 month. Again, live and in the flesh. 1 month chart, some sideways trading action. Looks like we're going to get another red candle close here later tomorrow when we have the August monthly close. And then we're entering September, and then the fourth quarter, October through December, hopefully is all bullish and up from here. Now let's discuss the hash price. The headline reads, Bitcoin hash price slump echoes March 2020. Bitcoin price launch zone. That's right. Bitcoin is printing a fresh buy opportunity as miners face ongoing profitability struggles. In one of its quick take blog posts, August 30th, on-chain analytics platform CryptoQuant suggests the Bitcoin price action is already near long-term lows, as you can see here. Now, long-term Bitcoin metrics continue to buoy the bullish narrative this month, despite both the miners and the hodlers getting squeezed. The former camp still faces post-halving profit hurdles, and the latest data shows that their hash price could hardly be any less advantageous. Designed to measure the miner cost as per terahash basis, the hash price is currently conspicuously low. CryptoQuant shows that in the past, price lows have emerged in step, but with a clear breakout later, quoting them here. The highlighted sections of the chart, the blue boxes, indicate periods where the hash price dropped to lower levels, corresponding to times when the Bitcoin price were also at or near their lowest points. Historically, these lower hash price periods have coincided with the Bitcoin price bottoms, suggesting that the current low hash price might indicate that the Bitcoin price is near a bottom as well, as brought to you in this chart by CryptoQuant. The last similar period occurred after the COVID 2020 pandemic and continued through the year's halving event. Now, earlier, outflows from known miner wallets cooling through the month of July, as Cointelegraph reiterated. And in recent days, CryptoQuant data confirm that Bitcoin reserves balance has hit, in fact, or it has increased and currently stands at 1.8 million BTC currently on the exchanges. And this week, mining difficulty increased by an anticipated 3%, bringing the metric back within a half inch of the all-time high of 90.66 trillion per monitoring resource, BTC.com. And also the CryptoQuant CEO suggests that the overall picture being painted with the United States mining sector was one of sustainability, quoting him here, miner capitulation nearly over with the hash rate nearing all-time highs. U.S. mining costs are roughly $43,000 per Bitcoin. So hash rate likely stable unless the price dips below this. So there you have it. Shout out Grant Noakes. He just gifted 10 memberships of the channel. So that means 10 of you just got hooked up with a free membership. It pays to be on the YouTube channel, family, and I'm talking to the 400 people on X and Rumble. Head on over to the YouTube, cryptonewsalerts.net. That way you can get hooked up when people gift stuff. So congratulations, Jason Pena, Buddy Mac, Mikey V, It's Remy No Limit, Billowette DC, Guy Sardina, Croy Boy, Freddy Krueger, Nightmares on Elm Street, Nitzrail, and So Real. You've all been hooked up with the MicroStrategy membership of the channel on behalf of Grant Noakes. That's very kind of you, Grant, for hooking up so many memberships. So you're all officially members. You'll notice your names turn green, and you'll have that sexy badge next to your name, which is a loyalty badge. Every month, the color will change. It shows your loyalty to the show. So shout out Grant Noakes and everyone that just got hooked up. Welcome all the new members of the show. So yeah, welcome all the new members. Let's freaking go. Our next story of the day, Let's discuss this selling action going on. Then we'll discuss Michael Dell and Bitcoin, a $250,000 target. Then the latest Trump news surrounding how he really got orange pilled about Bitcoin. It's due to 3 Bitcoiners in Puerto Rico. Was JV one of the 3? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyways, headline reads, Mt. Gox and U.S. government could introduce $15 billion in Bitcoin sell pressure. That's right. Bitcoin's sluggish momentum could carry over into September, as Mt. Gox and U.S. government could introduce nearly $15 billion worth of additional sell pressure. Over $15 billion worth of Bitcoin can soon flood the market and put more downwards pressure on the price action. U.S. government holds over 203,000 biddies worth $12 billion, while the defunct crypto exchange Mt. Gox is set to distribute another 46,000 biddies worth $2.7 billion. And yeah, wild. And here you can see where might the selling pressure be coming from. Mt. Gox, 46,000 Bitcoin. Tesla has almost 10,000 Bitcoin. Ukraine has 46,000. The UK has 61,000. China has 190,000. And the USA has 203,000 biddies. So that's right. Mt. Gox is set to distribute $2.7 billion before the end of the 2024 on Kraken, meaning before the end of this year. But the repayments are unlikely to cause a significant market impact, according to an August 29th report by crypto analytics provider Kaiko, quoting them here. Kraken has handled Bitcoin ETF flows with just a minor increase in slippage at the U.S. market close. Its liquidity profile suggests that any additional selling pressure from the Mt. Gox repayments is unlikely to cause structural issues that could affect the broader market. Mt. Gox creditors have been waiting to receive $9.4 billion worth of Bitcoin for the past decade, which has since appreciated over 8,500% in value. Talk about the ultimate hodl, a decade long, meaning that numerous investors will likely look to sell. I think maybe 25% of the investors would sell, because it's safe to say if they invested in Bitcoin 10 years ago in 2014 or soon or before that, they're the OGs. That's the smart money. That's the whales. Their positions are up at least 8,500%. So I think they're going to continue to hodl, of course, especially considering the time of the cycle we're in. We just had a halving in April, and things are likely to be lit for the fourth quarter of 2024 and for 2025 as we hit a cycle peak. Just pointing out the obvious. But despite Bitcoin's significant price appreciation, Mt. Gox, wow, the clouds right now look super wicked. Like crazy looking. I'm just kind of like looking in awe, like, whoa, some crazy patterns. But anyways, Mt. Gox creditors, and if you didn't know, I have the window in front of the computer. That's why lighting is always perfect here. But sometimes I'm just staring at the clouds. Get your head out of the clouds, JV. Back to the show. Mt. Gox creditors received nearly $4 billion worth of Bitcoin at the end of July, accounting for 41.5% of the payments owed to users. Mt. Gox creditors have opted not to sell, according to the July 29th Glassnode report. Quoting them here, creditors opted to receive Bitcoin rather than fiat, which was new in Japanese bankruptcy law. And as such, it is relatively likely that only a subset of these distributed coins will be truly sold onto the market. Now, notably, the spot cumulative volume delta, which is the CVD, a metric measuring the net difference between spot buying and selling, trade volume on centralized exchanges, has not seen a significant uptick on Kraken after the Mt. Gox Bitcoin distribution. Now, meanwhile, the Bitcoin price remains subdued under the 60,000 mark. In fact, we're testing in the 57, 58 range at the time right now of this live recording. We do need to get back above 60,000. In fact, this analyst points out here, one of the Bitfinex analysts, price is a reflection of historical market transactions. We must look under the hood. Price rallied up to the short term hodler realized price of around 63.9 currently, and thus we also saw some profit taking from the short term hodler cohorts. So there you go, yo. Let me know if you feel Mt. Gox will create more selling pressure, or do you think they'll continue to hodl? Let's discuss the latest with Michael Dell. There's a lot of rumors that Dell, big successful company, Dell Computers. I think my first laptop was a Dell. I remember I used to customize them online. You order them. And in fact, I think it lasted me the longest out of all the other PCs I had as far as laptops. Because I remember when I'd have a laptop, like a PC, the lifespan was 2 years. I remember the Dell I had for like 5 years or 6 years. I remember this was back in the day when Poker Stars was still a thing. I remember gambling on Poker Stars back in the day on my Dell computer. Brings back memories. But nonetheless, Michael Dell is one of the richest men in the world. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, like the 13th richest man. I've heard that thrown out there before. So there's been a lot of rumors since he started reposting the Michael Saylor posts of Michael Saylor flexing. You know what I mean, about the Bitcoin. And then Michael Dell himself even did a post of the Cookie Monster eating Bitcoins. So everyone was speculating, well, obviously he must be invested into the Bitty. Well, let's discuss this. The headline reads, Dell, the company, results show no signs of Bitcoin despite the CEO's bullish comments. So could that mean he personally invested into it for his own stash? Or does he have no exposure and it was just hyping up Bitcoin for no reason? Let me know your thoughts. Dell Technologies doesn't look like it ended up putting any Bitcoin on the balance sheet in the second quarter of the year. Despite the CEO's recent crypto-themed posts in the August 29th filing, the company revealed strong earnings based on growing AI demand, though it did not mention Bitcoin in its earnings call or results filing. So now that they've officially released that. One of his tweets, scarcity creates value. That was back on June 20th. So obviously everyone's speculating, well, he must be buying the Bitcoin. Why would he be posting that? So yeah, speculation was rife. The tech giant might have been considering buying some of the Bitty after the CEO, Michael Dell, gave the very distinct impression he was bullish on crypto in a series of posts on social media, which we covered here on the stream. Scarcity creates a value, a phrase often associated with Bitcoin because of the hard supply cap at 21 mil. And he only added fuel to the fire of speculation after reposting the reply from Vocal advocate and CEO, Mikey Saylor. Bitcoin is digital scarcity, and then plugged an account with a Cookie Monster image eating the biddy. You can't make this ish up. Now, Dell also held a poll on June 29th asking users, what was more important, AI, Bitcoin, love, and relationships, or none of the above? Bitcoin won with 43% of the vote, which means it's official. Bitcoin is more important than love and relationships and AI, all combined. Pretty wild, eh? Only 9% put AI. So good to hear that people value love and relationships over AI. I think we finally got a W. Thank God. His latest Bitcoin-related post came July 16th when he commented, fascinating Bitcoin, on an interview with the BlackRock CEO Lawrence Fink, explaining he was no longer skeptical of Bitcoin after studying it. However, Dell's results filing shows no signs the company purchased any of the biddy, and typically companies disclose when they buy or hold digital assets. For example, Tesla's involvement with Bitcoin was revealed through its financial filings in Q1 of the 2021 when it purchased $1.5 billion worth of the biddy. MicroStrategy, Metaplanet, and Semler Scientific have also disclosed the size and scope of their Bitcoin holdings in their earning report filings. Now, only a few companies have made Bitcoin part of their treasury strategies, leading the pack clearly Mikey Saylor's MicroStrategy, which has 226,500 biddies in a stash worth $13.4 billion, according to the company's portfolio tracker. Now, speaking of Dell Technologies Q2 earnings, the company's total revenue was $25 billion, up 9% compared to last year, with record servers and networking revenue of $7.7 billion, up 80% compared to last year. Analysts were predicting $24 billion in revenue. For example, Jeff Clark, vice chairman and chief operating officer of Dell, said AI was a key driving force behind the company's higher earnings. Quoting him here, our AI momentum accelerated in Q2, and we have seen an increase in the number of enterprise customers buying AI solutions. Each quarter, AI optimized server demand was $3.2 billion, up 23% sequentially, and $5.8 billion year to date. So there you have it, coming directly from Michael Dell and Dell Technologies. But anyways, let's get into our next story of the day and finally discuss some of this bullishness. Let's discuss the $250,000 target, followed by the latest Trump story surrounding him being orange-pilled in Puerto Rico. And then we'll tap into some live Q&A. So yeah, this headline reads, analyst says Bitcoin at $250,000, which is a $250,000 per biddy, as the most powerful Bitcoin bull run phase begins. Look at that bull. That bull face don't lie. Look at that bull. Looking like Nipsey in his prime. Anyways, yeah. So Ohio's recent call attention to the interesting pattern in Bitcoin's long-term price movements. With this analyst suggests the most potent phase of the current bull run is just beginning. We're just getting started, Laura. So yeah, the historical pattern, notably, the chart traces Bitcoin's historical tops and bottoms across 3 previous market cycles. Each cycle features a steep climb to a new all-time high, followed by a significant decline and a period of consolidation before the price surges. Once again, here's the chart. This shows it to us. You can see the tops, you can see the bottoms, and you can see where we're currently at and where we are going. And according to the chart, at least, it shows us about to ascend to 250,000 after bottoming out at this cycle. Let me know if you think the bottom is currently in. The most recent bottom we tapped, I think within 2 weeks ago, was 49. We are on the cusp of hitting 70, corrected all the way to 49, went back up above 60. Where are we at? 62. And now we're currently back down 57, 58 area. So let me know. And can you see us surging to 250,000? I'll share more of this. This pattern was evident from Bitcoin's first major peak on the chart, attained November of 2013, which you can see here, the very first peak. Now, when the price soared to $1,163 after reaching that peak, Bitcoin underwent a steep correction, eventually bottoming out at $152 in January of 2015. That's right. Now, from this low, Bitcoin embarked on a remarkable recovery, culminating in a second peak of 19,666 in December of 2017. Can't we just say 20,000 for Christ's sake? The subsequent decline was equally dramatic, with the price reaching a low of $3,122 on 2018 December. And after this bottom, Bitcoin hit a third peak of 69 G's, baby, in November of 2021. Meanwhile, following November 2021 high, Bitcoin entered a prolonged downturn, hitting a low of 15,500 November December of 2022. This formed the third significant bottom of the chart. Now, Bitcoin in the current cycle, nonetheless, a pattern inconsistent with the previous cycle. Bitcoin's latest recovery saw it hit a new all-time high of 73.8 back in mid-March. This high came up sooner than market analysts projected because history shows us we typically never break the previous cycle all-time high until after the halving. This is the first time in history of the halvings we did it pre-halving. That's right. So that means it could be even that much more bullish. Notably, during the previous cycles, Bitcoin, it's just basically what I said. However, the March 2024 all-time high came up a month before the latest halving event in April. Some have attributed this to the advent of institutional investors through the spot Bitcoin ETFs, which were launched January 11th. So article, get your facts right. It wasn't February. It was definitely January 11th. I remember they got the approval January 10th and they went live January 11th. Despite the impressive gain, Ohio suggests that Bitcoin has not yet reached the peak of the cycle, and I agree with that. Let me know your thoughts. The chart indicates the most powerful phase of the bull run is still yet ahead, with the potential to drive the Bitcoin price to an astonishing $250,000 per Bitcoin, which is a run up. Let's run some math. We at 60-ish, 60, 120, 180. What was that? It was like 230, 240. So we're about a 4x from here. Correct me if I'm wrong, if we were to hit that target. The analysts based this projection on the assumption that Bitcoin will follow a similar trajectory to the previous cycle, with the final stage of the bull run featuring exponential gains. That's right. Keep in mind, the bulk of the gains in a bull cycle is reached within 10 days. That's how fast Bitcoin can run up. So I'll give you a hypothetical. Sideways trading action, boring, 60 Gs. All of a sudden, we shoot to 120,000 within 10 days. Like it ain't no thing. I'm just saying what can potentially happen based upon the past. Now, market veteran Peter Brandt had previously asserted that 73 was the top for this cycle. Crazy. Nonetheless, he recently reviewed his analysis, projecting another pump to 92. I'd say even 92 is extremely bearish. In fact, my bear scenario for the cycle peak is 222,000. My bull scenario, which I think will occur in 2025 personally, is 750,000. So most likely somewhere in between there. Don't take anything I share as investment advice. I don't share investment advice. This podcast is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Now, Bitcoin's monthly Bollinger Bands also confirmed that the cycle top may still be in the works. Notably, the previous cycle, the Bollinger Bands tightened during consolidation and expanded whenever the cycle top reached, as Bitcoin is currently trading at roughly 58,000 at the time of this particular live stream. Now for our feature story of the day. The headline from CNBC reads, how Trump was orange-pilled by 3 Bitcoiners in Puerto Rico, and the promise of $100 million. So yeah, this is actually the headline here today. You should be able to see on your screen. So here we go. A block away from the neon-lit buzz of Lower Broadway, where honky-tonk pours onto the city's main drag at all hours, stands Music City Center, a venue that's hosted everything from craft beer conferences to performance by legendary Dolly Parton. And in late July, the complex filled up for something entirely different. We're talking about the biggest Bitcoin conference of the year. And the headline act was none other than former President Donald Trump, who made some big announcements regarding Bitcoin adoption for the United States, stockpiling the Biddy, freeing Ross, firing Gary Gensler, and all that good stuff. But yeah, for nearly 50 minutes on a Saturday afternoon, in which we covered on the live stream. We actually shared that broadcast live. It was actually pretty lit. If you missed it, you got to definitely check it out. Trump had a pretty lit speech, but the greatest speech, RFK Jr., was even that much more lit. But nonetheless, here we go. So what a second Trump administration would mean for the crypto industry: to a packed crowd of conference goers who spent hours getting through the Secret Service's tight security protocol. That's right. There was like a delay. I think Trump was delayed like an hour, and he's like, I'm not going to rush Secret Service this time, because a week or two prior, they almost took his life on that assassination attempt. So yeah, if crypto is going to define the future, I want it to be mined, minted, and made in the United States of America, Trump declared in a message targeted to the industry Bitcoin miners who secure the network by running large banks of high-powered machines. We will be creating so much electricity that you'll be saying, please, please, President, we don't want any more electricity. We can't stand it. So very bold prediction there. The speech, which read like it was straight out of a Bitcoiner's Bible, was quite the about face for an ex-president who 3 years earlier dismissed the crypto as a scam. Trump was no doubt lured by the potential of huge amounts of donor money from an industry that sees itself as under constant attack from the Biden-Harris administration and the heavy regulatory hand of SEC Chairman Gary Gensler. You're fired, Gary. Trump told the audience in Nashville that he'd raised $25 million in crypto-related funds, a number that CNBC hasn't been able to independently verify. In turning Trump from a skeptic into a sudden Bitcoin evangelist took the work behind closed doors of a small army of Bitcoiners and other crypto advocates who were able to maneuver their way into the candidate's inner circle. Now, here's what I find the most interesting. In particular, 3 friends in Puerto Rico, home of JV, came together to try and convince the Republican presidential hopeful of Bitcoin's value and to eventually make that position loud and clear to a key audience in Nashville. Because at the time, the rumor was this was the doing of, what's his name, Ramsawani, Vivek. They're like, Vivek is in his ear. Vivek is in his ear. He's orange pilling the Trump. He's orange pilling the Trump. Well, according to this source, and I don't know which is true now, it's 3 individuals from Puerto Rico, where JV lives. So that's what got my attention here. So anyways, in Bitcoin parlance, Trump was orange pilled. It's a play on the phrase red pill from The Matrix. In the movie, the main character, Neo, is given the choice of taking the red pill, which offers access to the unsettling truth about the world, or he can take the blue pill, which signifies a false but far more conforming version of reality. Facts. And the orange pill, of course, we got to orange pill the masses with Bitty. Orange pill refers to the Bitcoin official color, represents a person's dedication to the Bitcoin over fiat currencies within the matrix. Confidence, Bitcoin family members or friends and colleagues united their mission to orange pill Trump, where the trio of Puerto Rico residents, here's the residents, Amanda Fabiano, shout out Amanda, the shadow chief of Bitcoin miners, Tracy Hoyos Lopez, a former California prosecutor, even more interesting, and David Bailey, the CEO of media group Bitcoin Inc., and the organizer of the conference in Nashville. I didn't know that. So the Bitcoin Magazine CEO, David Bailey, lives in Puerto Rico. Shout out Puerto Rico, eh? Earlier this year, Bailey promised to turn out $100 million and 5 million votes for Trump. CNBC is told an update on fundraising numbers is coming soon. They probably raised a fortune. And over Memorial Day weekend at the steakhouse called Bottles and de Guaynabo. Oh my God. I'm in the suburb of Guaynabo. Small world. The 3 began mapping out a plan. They shared family-style dishes. Shout out Guaynabo, eh? Guaynabo. Guaynabo is a great place, by the way, here in Puerto Rico. Here's how Fabiano recounted the initial exchange to CNBC. We were at dinner with a bunch of people, and David was like, hey, I've been talking to the administration, and I want to do a roundtable on mining. Can we discuss it this weekend? Bailey had spent months in dialogue with the Trump campaign, swapping Bitcoin briefs and messages. He was about to make a 1,600-mile trek to meet the former president for the first time at the Trump Tower in Manhattan, and was keen to deliver details of a potentially lucrative fundraiser and the miners working group featuring some of the top CEOs of the industry. It would serve as a prelude for what was to come in Nashville. Now, Hoyos Lopez, Bailey's neighbor, had been recently orange-pilled and was anxious to help out in any way she can get in getting Trump to Nashville. She happened to have a contact in the Trump orbit who was willing to make the introduction. Meanwhile, Fabiano's history in Bitcoin mining was important and given the group street cred. Quoting her here, without Amanda, we wouldn't have had this legitimacy to sell that this is a legitimate business, said Hoyos Lopez. She is the mining queen. She's got all the miners. Now, Hoyos Lopez added that many miners are former Wall Street execs, quoting him or her here. If you want to be taken seriously, you have to take serious people, and it doesn't get any more serious than the miners. The Trump campaign didn't respond to multiple inquiries about Trump's latest crypto fundraising stats, his changed views on Bitcoin, and the event leading up to his appearance in Nashville. So I take it that must be one of the ladies reference, one of the 3 to Orange Pill. Yeah, that is. So that's Tracy Hoyos Lopez and Amanda Fabiano snapping a quick photo before their smartphones were confiscated ahead of the crypto industry roundtable with Donald Trump in Nashville. So shout out to those ladies, and shout out Puerto Rico making big moves. So yeah, who we would put in the room. Bitcoin and some other cryptos are created by miners around the world running high-powered computers that collectively validate transactions simultaneously to create the new tokens. Their massive physical presence shows up in the form of sprawling data centers across the globe and offers a tangible image for newbies to understand the otherwise abstract technology. Fabiano described it as a natural fit when thinking about how to explain Bitcoin to Donald Trump in a way that makes sense. Bitcoin often gets a bad rap for the amount of energy it consumes, which is just shy of how much power Egypt uses annually. Well, wow. So using as much as the country of Egypt. But as mining requires tremendous amounts of energy, the industry is developing innovative methods for producing and sharing it. For example, geothermal, which they have over in El Salvador. Miners can partner with utilities in a way that allows them to return energy to the grid. When there's excessive demand, they can sell it back. There's also utilizing untapped sources of renewable energy, often concentrated in remote parts of the country, helping to create an economy in areas which would otherwise be dormant. That could all lead the U.S. to becoming a greater producer of energy, which is of particular importance to satisfy the needs of the artificial intelligence boom. Bailey confirmed that he flew to New York to meet with Trump, but he wouldn't share specifics about what he said in the meeting. Smart man. Now, what's clear is that soon thereafter, Trump agreed to host about a dozen crypto executives and experts for 90-minute roundtables in the small tea room at his Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, Florida. That meeting took place in mid-June, 2 weeks after the dinner at Bottles. Now, to get Trump on board with the big shindig in Nashville, Bailey, Fabiano, and Hoyas Lopez knew they needed the right mix of people to clearly explain the virtues of mining and to convince the nominee that donations would be large enough to make the event worth his time. Quoting them here, it was like, who would we put in the room? Who would be the best people to explain this, right? Who would be willing to put dollars up, kind of put their skin in the game? And that was how it all got started. And those who committed to going pitched in $500,000 apiece to the fundraising committee, according to multiple attendees. But there you have it, yo. We're going to end it there. But as you already know, Trump is bullish on Bitcoin, regardless how he got orange pilled. Seems accurate to me, that story. Again, that's published from CNBC. David Bailey, the CEO of Bitcoin Magazine, who put on the event, would only make sense that, he was part of the orange pilling and those two ladies. But it's kind of even more crazy that it happened here in Guaynabo, Puerto Rico. So Puerto Rico, let's go.